This lesson is on practice P1 part A. I will separate by parts, so it makes the lesson and the class a little bit more easy to understand. Okay, so P1 part A. So here we are finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. To find the x-intercept, you will let y equal 0, and this is by default. However, if you have an equation that has a fraction means there is a numerator and a denominator. So if your equation has a fractions, you only solve for the numerator if you are looking for the x-intercept. If you are looking for the y-intercept, then just let x equal 0. Again, this is by default for x-intercept, and this is by default for y-intercept. So here is an example. I have y squared equal x cubed minus 4x. To do the x-intercept, you let the y equal 0. So put 0 in for y. So here's y. Okay. I'm letting y equal 0. So 0 squared is just 0. Next, you have to factor out the x. Okay. So here's 1x. And when I took out 1x, I should have 2 left, which is x squared. When I took out the x, I should have minus 4 left. Now, how do I know that this is correct? Just multiply it back. X times x squared is x cubed. X times minus 4 is minus 4x. Now set it equal to 0 and set it equal to 0. If there are 3 of these, then all 3 must equal to 0. Here we only have 2. So here's part 1 and here's part 2. Make it equal to 0. Okay. Now this part right here, this is already automatic. If you set it equal to 0, there's no solving because x is already by itself. Over here, you have to solve for it. So bring the 4 over, which is plus 4. Square root. And remember, when you square root something, it is always plus and minus. Okay. So that's how you find the x-intercept. Now, I want you to write this in interval notations. So remember, x goes first and then y. So the first point of x-intercept is 0, 0. That's for the first one. The next point is minus 2, 0, which is right here. And then the last point, positive 2 and 0, which is this point. Okay. So there are 3 x-intercept. 0, 0, negative 2, 0, and 2, 0. Okay. Next, you do the y-intercept. Okay. So all you have to do is just replace the x by 0. So put 0 in here for 0. Put x in here. Put 0 in for x. So there it is. So 0 cubed is just 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. If you square root of 0, it's still 0. So there's only one y-intercept here, which is 0 and 0. So that's the only point for y-intercept. Okay. Now also, if you look very carefully, the y-intercept. So let me make this a little bit better. This should be a y-intercept, sorry. So y-intercept, okay. So y-intercept should be 0, 0. Now if you look very carefully, it just happened that y-intercept and one of the x-intercept is also in the same spot, okay. So sometimes you will have the same spot for x and y-intercept, okay. So again, sometimes you will have the same point for x and y-intercept. Again, this is just coincident, but not all the time. Okay. So in this case, you have y-intercept. Here's your x-intercept. There are 3 of them. Okay. When you do your homework, it's going to be exactly like this. Okay. So this, I will break it up into 3 parts for P1a, P1b, and P1c. Okay. So this is the first part, P1a. And this is how you do your homework to find the x and y intercept. Okay. Let me zoom out.